Hi there, everybody. Richard Fulmer here, and welcome to another Richard's Rock Rambles. So we're going to carry on looking at our artists that going solo, went solo, and this time around we're going to have a look at the Riffmeister himself, Mr. Tony Iommi, of course, the main man in Black Sabbath. I suppose you could call him the main man, along with Ozzy in the early years. One of the main music writers. I think most of the lyrics are done by Geezer Butler. But I think, even when things got pretty bad, Sabbath were always there because Tony Iommi was there. And he kept driving them forward. He did a lot of changes within the music, brought new things into the band. Some were accepted, some weren't. But I think without him, you wouldn't have had a Black Sabbath. So that's what we're going to have a look at today, his solo output. And the first album we're going to check out wasn't meant to be a Black Sabbath album, but eventually the record company said, no, you can't put it out with just your name. It's going to have to be a Black Sabbath album. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about Black Sabbath's album, the Seventh Star album. I mean, this is such a ridiculous thing. It says on the cover here, Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi. Well, who else is it going to feature? Richie Blackmore? David Gilmour? Tony Iommi is Black Sabbath. But anyway, that's the cover there. There's old Tony, still looking pretty fit and healthy. And this album is highly underrated in my view. It's got some incredible stuff on here. It's got some heavy, fast-paced tracks. It's got an incredible blues number. Yep, Sabbath started out as a blues band, so why not? And some of the other tracks on it maybe lean a bit more to the commercial side of things. But, this came out in, I think, what is it, 86 or 87, around there. I got the date wrong here. 86, I think. Anyway, that's a really cool, sort of strange artwork, which you can see better on the vinyl. I used to have this on vinyl, in fact. And let me just see if there's anything. It's just the lyrics and who plays. There we go. And there's a picture of the band. And that's Eric Singer there, the guy from Kiss. The late Jeff Nichols. There's Tony Iommi. And, of course, Mr. Glenn Hughes, who joined for just this one album. And I'll get on to his other stuff with Tony Iommi. And I think his name was Dan Spitz, I think, on bass. Because Glenn Hughes just did the vocals here. He didn't play any bass. Dave the Beast Spitz on bass. Jeff Nichols keyboards. Gordon Copley bass on No Stranger to Love, Tony Iommi all guitars, Glenn Hughes vocals, and Eric Singer on drums. Starts off with there's a cool shot of Tony Iommi and Glenn Hughes. Didn't go well with this tour. Glenn Hughes kind of fell off the wagon, went back to his drugs and whatever, and didn't quite work out. In for the Kill, an incredible track to start off an album. Really great riffs from Tony Iommi, in your face track. No Stranger to Love, that's one of the more commercial tracks that I was kind of talking about. Turn to Stone, brilliant vocals from Glenn Hughes, his voice is incredible on here. Sphinx, The Guardian, which is sort of like an intro piece. Cheers, everybody. Seventh Star, the title track. Also like a bluesy kind of track, very slow, plodding, Sabbathy kind of riff to it. Danger Zone, another up-tempo track. Heart Like a Wheel, I think that is the bluesy track, Heart Like a Wheel. It sort of comes into the track. So I believe the original version of this went on and on and on, so they just sort of faded out in the end, because it just becomes a big blues jam. Angry Heart and In Memory are the last two tracks. If you haven't got this yet and you're a Sabbath fan, or even if you're just a Tony Iommi fan, it's essential. Great production. And he was produced and engineered by Jeff Glicksman, released in 86, Castle Communications. Excellent stuff. So that's the first one, the solo album that became a Black Sabbath album that was meant to be a solo album. You know what I mean. Then we're going on quite a few years on. This was in 2005. Glenn Hughes once again teamed up with Tony Iommi called an album called Fused. And this one also has got some incredible stuff on it. Heavy riffs on here. So let's see who else is on here. Kenny Aronoff, He's the drummer. Glenn Hughes, bass and vocals. Tony Iommi, obviously on guitar. See if there's anything else I can show you. It's mainly just the lyrics. There's not many pictures. In fact, there's no pictures of the band here. So just the lyrics. Another really cool album. I remember when this came out, I was still doing a radio show here in Cape Town for a station called Radio 2000 with Benji Moody. And when this came out, we played it on repeat. Especially the first track, Dopamine. Brilliant track. Also, in-your-face rocker. Just some incredible riffs. They call him the Riff Master for a reason. Wasted Again, Savior of the Real, Resolution Song, Grace. Also, excellent vocals from Glenn Hughes. Deep Inside a Shell, What You're Living For, Face Your Fear, The Spell, and the last track on this album for me is the killer track, I Go Insane. It's like this epic track sort of builds and builds, and Glenn Hughes' vocals are just off the charts. Excellent guitar work from Tony Iommi, some really nice lead breaks. Yeah, he left the best for last on this album. The album is called Fused, came out in 2005, Glenn Hughes and Tony Iommi. Get yourselves this one, you won't be disappointed. Then he did an album with a whole bunch of guests, simply called Iommi. There he is with his Gibson SG. And yeah, so as I mentioned, there's a whole lot of guests on here. I'll get to that in a second. See if there's any other shots I can give you. So this is a real sort of solo album with guests. Yeah, nice shot there of Tony with his guitar. There's the cross that he's been wearing since Black Sabbath days. The man in black. I don't think he wears too many bright colors. There we go. Another one of Tony with the lyrics. And there's a couple of shots with all the people that he plays with on this album. So let's get into that. Who does he play with on here? There's some really nice stuff on here. Different styles. Obviously, everybody brings their own 5 cents. Talking too much. Starts off with Laughing Man, The Devil in the Mask, featuring Henry Rollins. Really great pairing, that one. Meat, featuring Skin from Skunk and Nancy, also cool track. Goodbye Layman, featuring Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters and Nirvana. One of the standout tracks on here, some great drumming. Time Is Mine, featuring Phil Anselmo from Pantera, it works well. Patterns, featuring Serge Tankian. Black Oblivion, featuring Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. And then my favorite track on here, which has got Ian Astbury from The Cult. What a singer. Just perfect for this pairing, called Flame On. It starts off kind of moody, and then the riff in that track just hits you in the face. It's like, whew. Just Say No to Love, featuring Peter Steele, the late Peter Steele, from, who is he with? Type O and Negative, I think. And then he's got his old buddy Ozzy here doing a track, Who's Fooling Who? And Billy Idol, of all people, doing a track called Into the Night, which actually is pretty heavy. So there we go. That's one just called Iommi, with guests. Also, great album. And last but not least, well, there's 2 here, in fact, but they're kind of interlinked. So many years later, in 1996, he did some sessions with Glenn Hughes called the Depth Sessions. And great stuff on here. Gone, From Another World, Don't You Tell Me, Don't Drag the River, Fine, Time Is the Healer, I'm Not the Same Man, and It Falls Through Me. So this is kind of like I wouldn't say this was a bootleg. I think it might have been a bootleg for a while. This is the official release, and I believe it's getting another release as is Fused. This album, it's just been re-released now, remixed the whole 9 yards with extra stuff. So that's something to look forward to. I must get myself a copy of that, and I think this one's also been reissued. So who's on here? I think, if I'm not mistaken, although I often am, there's Glenn Hughes and Tony Iommi. Really cool shot. They're very good friends. Don Aries on keyboards, Jeff Nichols from Black Sabbath, Jim Copley on drums, Glenn Hughes on vocals and bass, and Tony Iommi on guitar. Originally on drums was Dave Holland from Trapeze and Judas Priest, but I think it was his name was taken off because, you know, Dave Holland had that whole issue with and landed up in jail eventually. Sadly, has also passed on, and there's just the lyrics. So yeah, they changed the drumming, I think, on this. And this one is called The Depth Sessions. Also got some great stuff on here. I'm trying to think what are the other tracks on here. Time is the Healer, I'm Not the Same Man, and Don't You Tell Me. Some very different styles on here. Obviously stuff that he couldn't do within Black Sabbath. Another one to look out for, The Depth Sessions. And then this is a bootleg that I came across. This isn't. This is sort of a copy called 8th Star, because I first mentioned 7th Star. This is 8th Star. And this has got a lot of the tracks that feature on this Depth Sessions. Not the Same, I'm Gone, Real World, Don't You Tell Me, I'll Be Fine, From Another World, Through the Rain, Shaking My Wings, which I don't think appears on the Depth Sessions, No Stranger to Love, and that's on 7th Star, yes. Is it? Yes, No Stranger to Love. So this is a different version on here. It says here remix 1986. And this says Tony Iommi's unreleased solo album session, August 1996. So this is a sort of a bootleg. It came out in 2000. I just want to see, and I'm pretty sure this has got, I don't think I haven't got the band on here, the names of the guys in the band, but I'm pretty sure this features Dave Holland on drums, along with Tony Iommi and Glenn Hughes, and I think Jeff Nichols as well. Sorry, I'm just trying to squeeze this thing back in here. Here we go. Sort that out just now. So that one's called 8th Star. And I think as far as Tony Iommi's solo stuff goes, that's it. I don't think there's too much else. He hasn't done anything else. As I said, Fused has just been re-released, remixed, the whole thing. Obviously new artwork, or not new artwork, but I think probably a few new photographs and whatever. So I need to get a hold of that. So there we go. The Riffmeister, Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath, his solo work. And yeah, some really interesting stuff there. If you haven't checked it out, you do yourselves a favor. And these should still all be available apart from the 8th Star, the bootleg. There we go, guys. Thanks for watching. Look after yourselves. I'll catch you soon with another going solo. It's spring here in Cape Town. It's getting warmer. It's braai time. It's red wine time. So yeah, it's looking good. And I shall catch you soon. If you haven't done so yet, please down below. Subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Any comments, more than welcome. I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.